Dricus du Plessis remains the middleweight champion of the UFC. His victory was impressive, but his opponent was, in my opinion, lacking. Nevertheless, Dricus looks to be on the cusp of being a breakthrough star. He has now defeated Robert Whittaker, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, and Sean Strickland a second time. The next dance partner up for Still Knox is also on the cusp of breaking through the glass ceiling in Hamzat Shamaev. I like the fight.
I like it a lot.
And believe it's the right one to make at this point in time. It's unbelievable though. Sean Strickland lost a title fight and ranks down from number 1 to number 2 right away. Up until a recent and subtle change in the ranking system, number 1 contenders losing a title fight would almost never rank down from the number 1 position. If the champion lost, they would simply become the number 1 contender. For example, when Strickland lost to DDP in the first fight, he became the number 1 contender. We can also look at Tatiana dropping to number 2 after being number 1 once she showed the world that a UFC title doesn't exist in her future. This is great to see, not their losses per se, but rankings moving in quicker fashion. I've long believed and incessantly stated that whomever loses in a title fight in the UFC should automatically be placed at number 6. I'll expand on that another time. Anyway, it looks like the AI judging is working better than the media, or the media is changing how they handle rankings to save their own asses from AI overture. Zhang Weili cleared Tatiana with ease, and the only thing I can see her doing that makes sense is facing Valentina to try and become a 2-division champion. Now, Magnum has stated the UFC informed her that if she moves up, she has to stay in the heavier weight class. That could leave an opening for Suarez to fight for a title again, but I don't see her defeating Mackenzie Dern. And you can bet your ass that Dern, A, wants no part of Weili, and B, will be guaranteed to fight for the vacant title that Zhang leaves behind. Dern also said she'd prefer another fight before a title fight. Wise, but I don't know if that would even help her in preparing for Weili Zhang. She may not get the chance for another fight before fighting for the strap, which is so fitting, you know. Dern essentially forced to fight for the title when she isn't ready. As far as Magnum goes, I believe she can defeat Shevchenko. From my view, Shevchenko has slowed down over her last 4 fights. Her stand-up style is tuned to be explosive, which obviously wanes with age, and even though Magnum isn't much younger, I'm not seeing her lose much speed or quick twitch. Wherein the bullet, it's been rather obvious over her last 3 to 4 fights. As said earlier, Valentina will have to work hard for those takedowns with Weili, much harder than what she had to against Alexa Grasso. Shevchenko could walk away just 1 fight shy of being an all-time great, only second to the person that 1 fight would be with, Amanda Nunes. My only thing about all of this in both the main and co-main of UFC 312 is But here's my thing about the main and co-main of UFC 312. The contenders fighting for the titles didn't seem to be on their game. Like, not even close. Sean Strickland, to me, looked in better shape for the first fight with Dricus du Plessis. He looked sharper in performance in the first fight, and not as flat in movement or even what he's known for, defensively jabbing. We've had the big wahoo of Eric Nixick discussing Strickland with Ariel Helwani, and people chose their sides. Personally, I don't really care either way, but I will say I sincerely hope those that jumped on Nixick aren't the same people that defend Strickland in what he says with the freedom of speech crutch. Because, I mean, Eric exercised just that, except it was nowhere near as offensive, you know? Be professional, you say. The relationship between a fighter and a coach. Dude, seriously, can we all just man and woman up and be friends?
That is just an asshole suggestion!
I hit up X to say Tatiana wasn't ready by the time the 4th minute of round 1 came. It did not take me long to realize this was a mismatch. Whatever the issue was with Suarez, her career is another brutal reminder that the game is not played fair. Her story, the way it was told and presented on Max, was very good, at least for me. We were emotional watching it, and it was indeed inspiring. I took away that this girl can see her dreams through. I felt all that, but it just wasn't meant to be. Where does she go from here? I don't know. Who cares? I mean, Mackenzie will beat her. She has better hands than Tatiana at this point, and I don't see Tatiana advancing her striking in any significant way over her next 1 to 3 fights. I'm not gonna get into it right now, but as I said earlier, she isn't becoming a UFC champion.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. You get nothing. You lose. Good day.
Henry Cejudo is going to take on Yadong Song this weekend, and from what I can tell, this fight has potential to do more for Mr. Song than Triple C. I do wonder if Henry is kind of pushing to fight out a contract and go do something else. I suppose with an impressive finish, he may wiggle back into contention like he said he intends to, which I don't believe anyway, but I truly doubt Henry gets to another title shot, at least a deserved one. Yadong, I suppose, has a little more at stake here. He is obviously younger and has yet to fight for a UFC title, but he isn't exactly on the ascent. Defeating Cejudo would be his biggest accomplishment thus far, in my opinion. I also believe it could be his biggest loss were he to suffer that outcome. Even with Henry in current form, this is a good fight for both guys, but if I'm being honest, I don't see any convincing path for either one when it comes to being champion. In Henry's case, again. Still, let's not forget what Henry Cejudo has accomplished. Also, Gene Silva and Melsik Bagdasaryan should be a treat.
Greatest fighter of all time, John Jones, a man on a mission.
Hospitals and insurance companies across the United States hide their prices so they can overcharge patients without...
Off is the direction you can fuck.
Cannon Man, Jared Cannonier, went into the Apex with the intent to impressively win, and in my opinion, did just that to an extent. Where does this place him though? Cannonier's record is a rather strange one. I can kinda see the UFC putting him against Paulo Costa. I don't know if Jared would have anything at all for Hamzat in any capacity. He looked good, but he didn't look that good. His opponent wasn't all there. And I'm sorry, I never thought RoboCop was a good fighter nickname, or the person using it was an elite fighter, at least in MMA. The truth is, Cannonier isn't going to look like that against anyone ranked above him, and he's proved that with some of these guys. Time only moves forward, and with it shall we decay. Not to say I would dislike being equal in the Cannon Man's physical shape, but seriously, is there a path for him to work back up to the top 5 in the next 12 months? Angela Overkill Hill was another with a somewhat impressive win. Overkill had decent volume from the get throughout the fight and was consistent with leg kicks. It wasn't a lot of them, but they were effective. Hill went for the clinch quite a bit. That too worked in her benefit. I am glad to see Overkill on this kind of tail-end run. She looked to be in good physical shape. Her back was shredded to compare, in my opinion. Angela has looked better in her last 2 than Holly did in her last 2 with the UFC. But is it enough for her to make a real run? Who cares, dude? I'd be very surprised if she re-enters the top 10 somehow in 2025. But I am enjoying her victory laps.
Yeah, who say that?
I think it's fair to say that Julia Avila, Panda Bear, or whatever it was, is done as far as being a competitor in the top 15 of the women's bantamweight division goes, and was probably done before she even fought Miesha Tate. But more importantly, what the fuck is going on with this division? It's like frozen in time or something. Macy Kia-san, and Ketlin Vieira gets cancelled. Myra moves down. Miesha, dead silent since December 2023. Irene gets massacred, and in my opinion is cooked. Raquel isn't allowed a rematch. Pena said June, and Eileen Perez is twerking. Fucking annoying. Update on Misha Tate and Yana Santos. They're scheduled to fight in May. I'm guessing this is the last Wahoo to get Tate back in the top 10. But if this is AI ranking these ladies, we need a new version of it. Mayra fucking Bueno Silva moved down in weight to lose to Jazz Javicius. After it happened, she remained in women's bantamweight division for some reason, but ranked down a spot. Eileen Perez ranked up 3 spots on the same update. Why? Oh, by the way, this made Eileen fucking Perez rank down a spot. Why? MBS is on a 3-fight losing streak, dude, in 2 fucking divisions. Eileen Perez is on a 5-fight win streak, bro. Most recently over Carol Hosa. Mayra Bueno Silva doesn't fucking deserve to be number 7 in the UFC women's bantamweight division. She hasn't beaten anyone in the top 15. Get this woman out of here. She isn't a name for fighters to have on their resume. She isn't a fan favorite. She has no hope of being a UFC champion. Get her out.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.